second chance in the game.
Hey guys, my name is Tyler Olson. I'm the varsity wide receivers coach at Moline High School. So what we're going to talk about today are the wide receiver route fundamentals that we do within our wing T offense. Obviously, we'll kind of just go over kind of the basic stuff and what we do as a position group. And then I will go over some of the drills that we do, some of the terminology, and some of the things that we kind of focus on. And then I'll show some of the drills that we do in Indy. And then at the end, I will show you guys some of the route clips over the last few years where I've been here. So what we kind of do, we break down some of the routes that we do, and then we add, and then we talk about, or we get the kids to understand what we're doing for each route. Okay, so we have, what I'll do is we'll talk about cuts. We'll talk about some of the routes that are specific within our offense. I'll go over a lot of the drills. We like to scaffold our drills, so we'll stop. We'll break everything down. We go from the top down, which I'll get to. We'll talk about some of the points of emphasis that I like to tell my guys every single day. The types of drills, and then the stems, because we stem our routes just to kind of put our guys in better positions and kind of give different looks. And it also works within our play action passing game. And then at the end, as I said before, we'll talk about the video of the drills and some of the in-game stuff. Okay, so some of the cuts that we do. So we have two cuts. We have our speed cuts and we have our control cuts. As we teach these, our speed cuts are very sudden. They're violent. We like to run through the break, okay? There's really no breaking down. We want to get in and get out of our breaks fast, okay? Because the ball's coming out. Usually we like to do these within our quick games. We'll do some speed cuts within our play action passing games. A lot of our rollout stuff will be through speed cuts. And then we have our control breaks. Okay, so within our control cuts, we want to break down, we want to gather steps, and we want to accelerate out of the break as fast as we can. And honestly, that third point is usually the hardest to teach because a lot of times, a lot of the stuff that you will see, sometimes when they get out of their break, they just kind of sit there and wait for the ball. It's almost taken 5 years to get the guys to understand that once we get out of our break, we want to run to a certain spot so the quarterback can throw to it. And then within our offense, we found that counting steps has benefited our guys a lot, especially when it comes to how different our athletes can be, which we'll get to here in a bit. And we like that instead of landmarks. So, like I said before, we like to count the steps so that we're able to get our heads up so we can kind of see the secondary and how it plays out. Okay, so routes of emphasis in our offense. Within our speed cuts, we have our Gator 7, which is like the mainstay of our offense, especially within our play action passing game. So our Gator 7 is a inside stem for about 3 steps. We get vertical, and then it's a high angle corner right around 10 yards. Okay, and we add that with our play action passing game. We get it on. We use it with a lot of our high-low stuff in our full field concept games, and then our outs. So we have 3 different types of outs. We have our speed out, our bear, and our charger. So we have an out for 5 yards, an out for 10 yards, and then an out for 15 yards. And those are all speed cuts. And within that initial speed out, we have a 2-step break and a 4-step break, which I'll show you. And then last but not least, our post, which we run a lot of our backside stuff in our play action passing game. Our full field stuff, we like to pair that with another post. Our control stuff, hitches, comebacks, and curls. We play around with our comebacks depending on if our quarterback can throw farther than 10 yards. And I'll talk about the comeback here in a bit. And then our curls. We didn't really run a lot of curls this year, but in the past we do like to pair that with our full field stuff. And at the end, so how I teach it, we like to break down our routes when we teach them. So we'll go from the top down. So we'll emphasize and we'll focus with the footwork at the top of the route. So I'll have them start slow and then progress up to full speed. I've liked this, as I've seen over the last 5 years. This allows our receivers to focus on the top of the route with the necessary footwork and body control, and then we'll speed it up. And then from there, we'll extend the drill work, as I'll show you in our fundamental drills videos that we have. It always starts off slow, and then we'll extend the drill to about 5 yards, so that we can practice getting in and out at full speed. And then honestly, we never really run full routes during individual time. It's always in group. Okay, so when we get with the quarterbacks, that's when we kind of get the timing down, and then those guys can go full speed. Okay, so our speed cut drills. I always start every year. Every year we always start off with our ladders. Okay, so it's a big strong emphasis in the summer and the beginning of fall camp, and then as we get into the season, I'll start taking that away. It works on our lateral foot speed, something that we can kind of work with to strengthen our knees as well. And then the second drill that we do for our speed cuts is a pressure step buildup, and I'll show the video here in a bit. The pressure step buildup is kind of building upon that initial footwork with our ladder drills, which we will get to sprint work. And then as we move up, we'll build it up to full speed with every third step, change in direction. Okay, the reason for that drill specifically is for our Gator 7s, our slants, and then our speed outs. Okay, and the last thing that we do is our half circle drill. Okay, so we'll kind of break that down, and we'll start them as they are getting at the top of their route. So they're one-step speed cut, and then we'll have them run through a whole full circle thing, a full circle. And the biggest thing is what I want them to do is I want them running through the break, driving their arms, and then snapping their head around at a certain time. What I want them thinking as they go through this drill is break step, their drive step, so they're running through, and then their third step through that is the line that will get them on. And then obviously you can extend that to 5 yards to get the timing down. Okay, so our control cut drills. I only do 2 or 3, but the most important one that I like to do is our 3-cone drill. Okay, it's a 3-step transition, and sometimes I'll add a 4th step, because obviously a lot of guys they have a hard time kind of throttling down with the 3-step. And 3-step is hard, especially if you're getting into a full speed like a comeback and even in a curl. So I like to add like an extra step. So I'll tell them in a drill, okay, well, you know, we'll start off the 3-step, and then we'll do the 4-step, and whatever you're comfortable with, you choose. So I give a lot of I don't know, empowerment to my guys to kind of figure out what works best for them, and then whatever translates to the field to get them to be successful. And I'll show that. And obviously you can work, the reason I like that is because it's very flexible. So we can work both square cuts and then our curl and comeback cuts, which we will see here in a bit. And then our SCSO drill. So it's a cone drill that adds a slant, curl, slant, out drill. And now we're adding steps. So as we come off of our slant, we want them to count their steps. So on that 3rd step, I'm planting and I'm running through my break, getting into a curl. Okay, I'm breaking down either a 3-step or a 4-step transition. I'm buzzing around it, getting back into a slant, 1, 2, 3, and then into an out, which is our 2-step. And you'll see us again. When we start this drill, we go slow to fast. I'll have the guys like almost walk it or jog it when they go through. The points of emphasis, I want a low pad level. I want them to get the footwork down before going full speed. And obviously this is a very flexible drill for us. So we can add square cuts, we can add, I mean, it's pretty much all there, which is why we like it. Okay, so here's the first part of our ladder drill. Okay, so I'll have them start kind of chopping here, and then every other one, they'll violently, okay, stick their foot inside or into one box, push their way back out, okay? Points of emphasis, I really want them to accentuate it. So when they do that, they really throw their whole body. They almost want to put their chin down to their knee and then push back out. Okay, they really want to accentuate that movement, that violent movement. And then obviously towards the top of the route, they stick and then they run out. And you don't actually have to do this. It's just an added thing. We have a guy here just tossing a tennis ball. You can put a football up. Because every drill that we do, especially when it comes to our routes, I want them catching. And I can have a whole other presentation on the ball drills that we do, but every little drill that we do, I want them catching something. I want them training their eyes, training their hands, because it's a very specific thing that we want them to do. Okay, this kid right here is a junior. As he's going through it, I kind of want him to be a little bit more forceful with his jab. Here we got a sophomore here, a little heavy-footed, but he kind of warms up into it. Hard stick coming out of it. And you can speed up his feet and do every box too. Okay, it's not just this. So on the other side, a hard stick. I'm really pushing in there, and it's not necessarily getting out of it. It's I want to really stick and kind of let my body and my momentum get onto that knee. See, he kind of I don't know, is soft when it goes through here. I want him to really hard there. The emphasis is good with his chin and his shoulder and his head, but I want more of a stomp. So when we're doing this, when they're running through this, I want to hear their foot really hit the ground. Okay, so this is for like mainly our hitches and our control stuff. So at the top of the brake, we kind of want that throttle down. So when they're getting to the top of their brake, they really want to, that first step is when I'm starting to kind of throttle down, and then I can get my gather steps behind it. Points of emphasis, chest, head over toes. I want to snap my chin down to my knee. So he goes every other one. Okay, and in this, if you guys want to do this drill, emphasize going slow, okay? And I'll show you a couple kids here that go through it fast. I always tell them, go back. Do it slow. Get the timing right. Really accentuate and get used to your body getting into that cut. Stick, okay? He's snapping down. Okay, we don't have to add a ball cut or a ball drill into it. Okay, the young guy's doing it pretty good. I want his chin really going a little bit harder down to that knee. See, for here, it feels like he's kind of holding back. And here's Speedy Gonzalez here. He's going fast. Honestly, not that bad in terms of the initial violentness of that stick. Okay, but I want his chin getting down to that knee. Okay, I always talk about accentuate, make it look goofy. Okay, because in the game, all right, when you're snapping that down, it doesn't look as goofy when you're catching that ball or when you're getting out of your break before the DB does. Okay, and what I like to do is I like to scaffold on that. So we'll add an extra step. Okay, so it's that second gather step. So he's given a hard stick. He's snapping his chin down to his knee, and he's bringing that second foot up. So I really emphasize that quick second step. See, sophomore here is getting a little bit better. He's starting to kind of figure it out. That second step's getting up there. Okay. Getting through it. He's getting a little bit better. Still that first foot with him is still not as. See, I want more weight on that front foot. Okay, Speedy here, getting better. Okay, so here's our pressure step buildup. All right, so I always have him go off slow. So I mean, and this can be for slants, but this is mainly for our Gator 7. Okay, so our Gator 7, like I said earlier, was our inside stem at about 3 steps. We're vertical, and then right at 10 yards, we're at a high angle corner. Okay, and this can also translate to our speed out stuff. Okay, so pressure step, he's going to hold it. Okay, so watch. They're going to get into it. He's going to hold it, kind of I don't know, like reserve his energy, and then he's going to push off and have a hard stick, absorb all that energy, and then he's going to slowly build up to going full speed. Okay, and this does take some time, and it's awkward for them, but the more you do it, the better they'll be. See, Speedy here kind of gets through it, but as he's speeding it up, we don't want to go as far side to side or laterally. Sorry. So we kind of want to work outside of our framework. Stick, 1, 2, 3, stick, 1, 2, 3, stick. So we're building on that violent stick. Getting a little bit better. Okay, so here's our 1-step half circle drill. Okay, so let's just say top of our route in a speed out. Okay, he's getting ready to get to his break point. He sticks. We're running through. Okay, we're running through, and obviously in a speed out, he's staying lateral. But here we want them to run all the way into a half circle. Okay, points of emphasis. All right, we're running through the break. I want a little bit of a forward lean. I don't want to be too far. And I want to pump that. I want to pump my arms through this route. Okay, the main point of emphasis is that inside arm. Okay, because as I turn, I want that elbow to kind of snap my head around. Obviously, I could have probably moved the drill up a little bit better. We're lacking for space here in the winter. So it's a hard stick. We're running through. And obviously you can have a football. I usually do footballs in the summer. But here we just have a couple tennis balls. All right, this is probably the best. The kid in the blue is probably the best one. Obviously, if you notice, some of these guys they're inside. He does a little bit better. A little bit better. He kind of tailors down on that inside arm. Okay, really want to push that arm. See, he kind of keeps it inside. The young man here does a little bit better of a job. He's running all the way through, snaps that head around that fourth cone, emulating that hard stick. A little bit better. I'd like a little bit more of a forward lean with him. A lot better. Okay, so here's our 3-cone drill. Okay, we're working square cuts right now. See, obviously, I like the 3-cone drill. So how they do is they start it off. I want them to lean into it to where their body has to react, and so they have to bring that front foot to almost catch themselves. Okay, so obviously, when you're running a route, you're gonna be leaning. So I want them to kind of emulate that movement. Okay, his first step isn't the greatest. So if we're gonna be breaking right, I want that first step to be with his left. We're doing a hard 1, 2, 3. It's for a square cut. Oops, sorry. So I really want that first step to be a little bit more pronounced. So it's almost like I'm catching myself up there. Okay, so for the younger guys, I have them like build upon it. Okay, so as you'll see here, he'll do his 2 steps. Okay, just to kind of get that second foot down. Okay, so I mean, this translates from the ladder drills. So we're building upon that. Bam, bam. Okay, good. That first step is good. He's leaning into it. He's catching himself with that outside foot. Okay, and then he comes back and he's going to do 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then he does it, and then he doesn't break out of it. So you tell him, okay, do 2, do 3, and then do the full movement. 1, 2, 3. Because that third step he's going to be pushing off. And obviously we're pumping our arms all the way through. And as you can see, he pushes out of it. Okay, we're leaning through it. 1, 2, 3. I'd almost like him to kind of, step a little bit farther with his first step. All right, here's our curl work. So you can curl and work, so we can work it back to the quarterback. So we're doing a 3-step here, 3-step transition. So we have a hard stick and we're running out of the break. That's the point of emphasis. All right, so we're leaning. Okay, you go to a point to where you're comfortable and you bring that left foot up. Here's a sophomore here. See, if you notice with him, okay, that first step should be farther out. Okay, he just kind of brings it up and sets it down. Okay, you're gonna have kids like that. He just wants to rush through it. Good. Sophomore again. Okay, so this next one, we're adding that 4th step. So if we're going to be breaking to the right, okay, or on a curl, we're breaking inwards, all right, we want our first step to be with that right foot. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, and obviously it looks awkward. Okay, he's kind of fighting it a little bit, and you'll see why that's important when we get to the route clips. Good. See, and this is where the ladder drill translate. Okay, we want quick feet at the top of our route. We're gathering our steps and we're running out of it. That's good. Slow it down for you. Good. All right. So this is our slant curl, slant out drill. Okay. So in this one, they're going slow. So they're going to count steps. They're going 1, 2, 3. They're going to, I think between 4 and 5 steps here for the curl. All right. They're going to run out of it. Okay. You kind of rounded that one. Okay, so it's coming up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're buzzing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, stick, and they're running out. Okay, here's at somewhat full speed. Okay, this is where the pressure step builds, play into a factor. This is where the half circle drill comes into. I'd like for them to run out of this a little bit quicker. So that second step right here, 1, 2, just kind of drive out of it. See, he didn't really drive out of it as hard as I would have liked. So that boom, right there, that second step. And the thing with these, for what I teach, is I just use the cones as kind of like a landmark. So if you're 3 steps before it, great. I still want you to stick. If you're 3 steps or past it, fine. I just want you to get your steps. It's just there to be kind of like a visual on where I need to be going. So we'll get to some of the route clips here in game stuff. Okay, so this is our Gator 7. So this is from our naked play, which is very successful. Obviously, we pair our play action game with our run game, obviously. So in this look, what we usually like to do is when our run plays are away from us, we'll kind of tighten down and we'll sprint to kind of get to that backside safety, okay, in hopes of somebody cutting back and we're there to pick up that to pick up that safety. In our Gator 7, usually we want to take 3 inside steps, get vertical, and then at 10, we're going high angle. This year, this receiver, what he did is he kind of would lull him to sleep, and then by the time he made his break, he kind of cut it up, and he didn't really get vertical, which is fine. I mean, it worked for him, and surprisingly, he scored more touchdowns than I would have ever guessed. Okay, so we're giving a hard play side fake, like Coach Morrissey said. Okay, we're leaking out the back. Our tight end's dragging. And as you can see, he's kind of slow plays it. We give a good fake, and then he's past him. Okay, he just dumps it down. Okay, we run, and this is on the same drive. Okay, so he kind of makes it look like he's lazy, trying to get to that top safety. That corner has his eyes in the backfield, and he's already running past him when he gets vertical. And you'll notice this last year and this year, I know it's kind of the rule is to have that inside foot up. Sometimes when we're breaking inside or we're stemming inside, I kind of tell them to flip their feet because that first step, I want them to get inside. And it also helps to work with our step counting, especially with our Gator 7s. And then it also plays into our play action game. Okay, so here's an example of our Gator 7. Both guys look into the backfield, and by that time, it's already too late. Look, because he's looking like he wants to get to that safety. We have that run fake away. Here it is again, high angle. Okay, and if that guy does want to run with him, then we have our flat guy, and we have our tight end crosser. And there he just makes a good play. Okay, so here's our speed cut stuff. So when we run our sprint stuff out of our wing tee, we want the ball out. We want our guy out of our break. And usually when it's our speed out, okay, we take 2 steps. We're in our break and we're running, and we should have the ball in our hands at that time. All right, and we'll get to our bear stuff here in a bit. Okay, and that hard 1-2 stick. Okay, ball's in our hand. We want to make a play. Okay, and we play around with that. Sometimes if a guy's tight, we want him to have a 4-step. Okay, a 4-step speed out. So if you're looking here, points of emphasis, like I kind of want that inside, that right arm to kind of be pumping through the break a little bit harder. Okay, a little bit more force when we run through that break. The inside head, snap that head around. See, he kind of drops that right arm, that right shoulder. Okay, this one, this is our 4-step. Okay, and sometimes we'll play around with it. Usually, like we'll say that week, okay, we want a 2-step, we want it out. Here, he plays a little bit tighter, so we want him to run him off a little bit more. So this is going to be a 4-step, a good route. Stick, we run through it. Ball's out, ball's in his hand, and make a good play. So we'll slow it down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm running through it, and that's where the pressure step build, the 1-step, the ladder drills all kind of come together here. Okay, so here's our double ghost concept. So this is our our concept where our outside guys run goes, our inside guys run speed outs. Now, if you notice, our Y here is on the ball, our F is off the ball. Okay, and I'll tell those guys whatever works best for you, that to where we need to get to our break points or our landmark. Okay, so if our guys are off, I want them running 4 steps. If our guys are on, I want them running 2, and they'll know that. Okay, so the ball will go to the inside guy here. Okay, and he'll stem just a little bit that first step, but he'll take a 4-step, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'd like for him to kind of run through that a little bit more. And then down at the bottom, he'll take his 2-step out. Okay, because they're both breaking at the same depth. Okay, he did a little bit better here at the bottom, running through it. Okay, here's our 2-step. I'd like him to run through this a little bit more. But ball's out, ball's in our hand of our playmaker. Okay, so here's our bear concept. Bear is our 10-yard out. Okay, and we usually when we teach steps, 2 yards. Okay, we have our 2-yard speed out. We have our 2-step speed out. We have our 4-step speed out. We have our 6-step speed out. We have our 8-step speed out. Okay, our 6-step speed out will put us at about 10 to 12 yards. Okay, our 8-step speed out will put us at about 15, which you'll see here in a bit. So this is our bear concept. All right, so our inside guys running a corner, our outside guys running a 10-yard speed out. Okay, and we stem our routes as well. So they're both stemming outside. So right at that 6th step, okay, he's having a hard, violent step. He's running through his break. That ball should have been out already. Right there. So you count his steps: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Stick. Okay, and he does a really good job of, after he stems, he kind of bends it back vertical a little bit to kind of threaten his leverage into that inside hip, and then he bangs it back out. Okay, this kid's a good route runner. Here's bear again. So we got a 10-yard out. Okay, and we have a corner inside of that. I'd like for him to stem outside, but 6 steps, stick out, ball's out. Okay, it's a good route. And we're stemming outside. Okay, here's our charger. So charger's our 8-step speed out, puts him at about 15. Okay, he stems. He does a good job stemming here. Then after we stem, obviously any receiver coach is going to tell you, after we stem, we're going to want to stack that DB, that outside linebacker, okay, because then it puts us in an advantageous position, which you can see. So he'll stem outside to get a little bit vertical. He'll stick on his 8th step. Bang, ball's out. Okay, so we'll count it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Run through it. I'd like for him to to run his arms a little bit faster through that. That'll kind of help him get through his break a little bit faster. Here's charger again. Okay, and the biggest thing, he had a little issue of it. We want his chest a little bit lower, because obviously, as you see, his pad level kind of comes up right before he gets to his break point. We've had problems with that in the past. The biggest thing is to emphasize, okay, you want your chest over your toes. You want a good lean, as to not give away when your break point is. And obviously, we always emphasize catching the ball first and then finishing tough. All right, so here's our boot. So this is our bootleg. So when in any of our play action stuff, if the rules are for our receivers, anything to you is a Gator 7 high angle corner. Anything away from you is a post. Okay, so I'll have our guys flip our feet. We'll stem inside, and on our 6th step, we'll break, which should be right around 10 to 12 yards. And then our landmark is the first goal post. So he stems inside at about his 6th step, cuts it to his first goal post, and just makes a great play here. This is an outstanding catch here by this young man. So we stem inside, kind of stems, or he kind of gets vertical a little bit to threaten that go that we like to run a lot. Then he breaks it back inside, and ball's in a perfect position. So now of some of our control stuff. So this is our hitch. Our hitches are 3 steps. So in our third step, we're popping that off. I always call it pop and drop or pop and drop. So we'll pop with our left with that outside foot on our third step, and we'll kind of hop and settle. So right here is what we're looking at. 1, 2, 3, stop. Ball's out. Try to get as much as you can. So we'll look at it again. So it's 3 steps. One, two, stick. And I'd like to get rid of that false step at the top of the route too. Here's hitch 2. 1, 2, 3. Pop and stop, pop and drop. Quarterback does a good job of kind of throwing him outside to get his momentum going. This is Speedy Gonzalez from the earlier stuff. Still a good route. I just like for his pad level to be a little bit lower, his chin to kind of snap down to that. Bang. Still does a good job. And he finished it. We always want our guys to finish. Finish. Here's another hitch. All hitch again. Like to look at this guy right here. 1, 2, 3, step. Kind of would like him to attack outside. Here's our curl. Okay, so we'll stem inside. Kind of sit in that pocket. Here's our curl concept again. It's still 6 steps, okay? But and it works flipping our feet, okay? Because the kids know it's our 6th step, so if we flip our feet and we want to go out, so if we want to run like a corner or one of our bears, okay, and if his inside foot's up, it's still our 6th step. If your outside foot is up, it's still our 6th step. Okay, so we're gonna watch this right here, this outside. So this is our curl concept. Ding dong here in the slot. Should have ran an arrow, but he didn't. So he's breaking it off. He's gathering his steps. He should be working back to the quarterback. Okay, but he settles. Got a good play. Okay, so he's dropping that outside foot. Bang, right there. Good route. Okay, so here's our comeback. All right, so when we run our wing T stuff, we like to pair our comebacks with our quit goes, so like our fade. So on our 4th step, all right, we like to stick and drift, and that ball should be outside of the numbers. Okay, that's our quit go. But with our comeback, it's kind of the same footwork. Our 4th step, we're sticking, we're kind of fading out to make it look like a fade, and then on that 8th step, we're breaking back down back to the sideline. Okay, so here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, stick, make it look like a fade, and then on our 8th step, back down. All right, so we'll slow it down here. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bop, bop, bop. 4th step, we're out. Good route. Same game, different kid out here, so we're gonna roll to this, or sprint to this. Sorry. Okay, so we'll pair it whenever there's a comeback. We'll run this guy knows to run a corner, so he's going to stem outside as well. Okay, put pressure on this guy. He didn't fade, but at the top of his route, he had a good gather step, and he ran back to the ball. That's the point of emphasis there. So when we get out of our break, we run back to the ball, because obviously he's going to be gaining ground. All right, and our kid makes a nice play. Okay, because sometimes what they'll do is a lot of times my guys will just kind of stop here early on, but the more you nitpick, the more you hammer them, any drills that you can find that allow them to work and run back through the ball is good. Okay, he did a good job going back and getting it. All right, here's another comeback from the spring. Up top. Here's another one of our Gator 7 plays. Usually they won't put 2 guys on your one. This guy was a very exceptional athlete, so we constantly had matchups like this. And obviously, you know, he would run both of these guys off, and we'd usually hit him or the backside tight end. So we flipped his feet, 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of get vertical, and now we're high angle. Okay, when that happens, we're just gonna dump it down to the delay here. All right, so there's that. I also got a couple more drills that I didn't get to. Um, I'd like to do our stock blocking stuff at one point. But if you guys have any questions, uh, don't hesitate to reach out. Um, the biggest thing for our guys is to stay consistent and really focus on the fundamentals, which is it's kind of taken five years to kind of get them into that mindset. But I think the culture in our wide receiver room is great. Um, but the biggest thing is stay consistent and be on these guys. Because sometimes you will get some of the lazy kids out there, but if you can hold them to that high standard and really focus on the little things and be detail oriented, then you'll get a good product on the field. But my email address is Olson, Olson, at molineschools.org. So if you guys have any questions, reach out. I'd be happy to share you anything that we do. But again, I appreciate it, and let me know if you have questions.